Welcome back to this old greenhouse woodworking edition. So y'all have seen this before. We've showed you this quite a bit, but here's what we have gotten finished over the last couple of days. So I was able to get some true 2x6 old stock material that was up in a barn. It's probably been in a barn for 7,500 years. I mean, the barn's really, really old. So we was able to get some true 2x6s to put on the ends here to kind of simulate like a big post type thing to kind of give it that beefy look, which is kind of what they were wanting. So I was able to do that, which worked out really nice. As you can see, everything lined up really good. Screwed it in from the back side, looks really nice. It's really good and solid, and it's amazing at how solid these boards are that were so old that they were laid up in a barn and they haven't seen the light of day in, like I said, 75, 80 years, 100 years, whatever it is. But they are completely solid, no rot, no anything on any of them. Some insect damage, just a little bit. You can see right here some wormholes that where some of those worms have went through and chewed on some things. But if you can see right here, this is kind of old growth, really tight rings right here. And it gets tighter and tighter and tighter as it goes out. So really, really nice material here. It's pretty fortunate to find these. You can see that we've put the barnwood on. They wanted the very rough look. So we used the restorer tool that I was able to purchase, and it did an amazing job. We showed you that earlier, how well that really did. It's still, a little rough. It's not like it's been sanded smooth, but it won't give you an instant splinter. I mean, if you rub it the wrong way, it's going to give you a splinter, but that's what they wanted. They wanted it to be very rough looking because that's the style that the client likes, and I think it looks pretty good. I was kind of nervous at first. I didn't, because I'm a perfectionist. I really like things to be perfect and lined up and straight and all that stuff, and that's just not the case with rough barnwood. You're not going to be able to accomplish that unless you spend time really milling your boards up and making them the same thickness and running them down a joiner and making your edges perfect. But that's not what they wanted. So they wanted it to look like it was actually put onto the side of a barn, and I think that we've accomplished that by doing what they want. It's different thicknesses. The boards are different thicknesses. Here is an outlet that they wanted, one over here and one over there. Back here on the back side, you can see that I've left these long, and the reason is they're not attached yet because we have to try to transport this thing, and y'all have heard me say before it's going to be unbelievably heavy. But we have to transport this thing, that's problem one, and problem two is we actually have to get it into a door. The door is a 36-inch standard exterior 36-inch door, which if you do your measurement, it's not 36 inches. It's actually 35 1/4 inches from inside opening, the width. So what we're hoping to be able to do is leave these boards off, and from this 2x4 to the face frame is about 34 1/4 inches. So we've got about an inch to play with. So we're hoping that we are able to set it on some furniture dollies and then just kind of get it over to the door and then just kind of wrap it around the door and then slide it through, and we'll have about an inch, half an inch to an inch to play with from front to back, and then hopefully we can just bend it right around and roll it on in. I don't know how well that's going to work, but I do know that it's not taller than 35 inches. So if we have to, some of those younger guys can stand this thing up on its backside right here, put the furniture dollies on here, and we should just be able to easily roll it through the door. So we've left these boards off. We had considered planing these boards down to make them really thin, kind of much like a veneer. But when you do that with barnwood, you stand the chance of cupping. And what cupping is when any type of wood, whether it's nominal 2x4 wood that you get over at Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever, but this wood right here has not been kiln dried. So what that means is whenever you put this stuff inside, that moisture is going to go away. It's going to dry up. And what's going to happen is this board will want to cup the way the growth rings are. So it'll want to cup like that. So the thicker the board, the less likelihood or the less cupping you're going to have. So what you've got to do is, if you do a really thin veneer of barnwood, two things. One, you need to make sure that it's super dry. You need to put it in a dry spot where there's low humidity for 6 to 8 months. Let it really dry out. And then that will help with that. And two, you need to glue it. You need to put a really good, strong carpenter's glue down onto a solid surface with that thin veneer. And that will, with the being really good and dry and with the glue, should help a lot with the cupping issue. Because if you start putting two boards side by side and one starts cupping, they'll pull apart, and you don't want that. That's not a good look. That's a little too rough for what they were wanting. So with that being said, kind of that helped our decision. Two, with the fact it's going to be so heavy, we're leaving this barnwood off is going to probably save us about 100 pounds or more to be able, so we don't have to pick that up. So what we'll do is we'll load this thing up at some point here very soon to be able to transport it over there. And then once we get it in over there, we will go back, once their cabinets are in, place this thing where they want it, get it squared up, get it attached to the floor, and then we will then come back and put tar paper, which is this stuff right here. This is stuff that you have for your roof, used for many different things, but most of the time it's used for a water barrier for your roof. You put this down on top of your roof before you put your shingles on or your metal on or whatever. But what I've done right here is, let me see if I can show you. I have taken this tar paper and stapled it to the backside. And the reason that I've done that is because if you come around here to this side, you can see, right here's a good reason right here. You can see that's a crack. If you don't have the tar paper or some type of substrate back behind that, you're going to be able to look through, because it's going to expand and contract in the house. It's not going to do it as much as if it were outside, but it will. It's wood. That's what wood does. You're going to have that issue, but what this does is that kind of combats the fact that you can't, it just looks like a dark shadow line is what that looks like. So that's the reason that we've used tar paper along everywhere you see the barnwood. There's tar paper. You can actually look behind this wall right here on the other side. You can see right there where the blue electrical box is, you can see there's tar paper on that entire wall. And these things are not perfectly straight because, like I said, they wanted it rough. So they did not want me to take them and run one edge down a joiner to make one edge good and then come over and make a nice, really straight, square piece. They wanted it to be rough. So in doing that, that's going to cause you to have joints and cracks. You can't get around that, which I think is a good look. It's not for everybody, but I think it's a good look. I was a little skeptical, but I think it looks great. I think it looks really, really good. I think we've hopefully given them what they wanted. We'll see. But they picked their quartz out. They're coming by tomorrow to bring some paint samples, some stain samples, and things of that nature, so that we can get that finalized. And y'all, I'm not a painter. I strongly dislike painting, but that's part of it. So hopefully I'm gonna get my sister-in-law. I think there might be a chicken tractor in her future that I'm supposed to build at some point. So Kelly, if you're watching this, I'll square it up with you with the chicken tractor in the spring or the fall or the summer. So I'll get you back. But she's a fantastic painter. She's a craftsman too. She's really good at what she does. She's got that design eye. She's went to school for design. So I value her opinion when it comes to stuff like that. We bounce a lot of stuff off of each other, and it works really good. She's really good and kind of gets me seeing things in a different way, which is important. So you just don't get locked into one thing. And So she's good at that. So I'll give her a lot of credit for that. So tomorrow, the plan is when I get home from work, we've got to cut a shelf, a full shelf that goes in here. We've got our shelf pins in, one over here as well. We'll sand it, put an edge band on the front, make a real nice shelf for them. And it's totally adjustable. They can raise or lower, whatever they want to do, whatever they feel like they need to do. Really pleased with it. Again, Seth's done a great job. I'm really proud of where he's going with his woodworking skills. He's got it. He knows what's going on with it. So awesome. I'm really excited about it. Looks really good. All right, guys. Appreciate y'all. See you next time.